How's it going, my peeps? It is now time for the Raw results slash review. I'll go over the results, give you guys my thoughts. So the show starts off with Michael Cole and Jerry the King Lawler showing some footage from before the show aired, where there was a fire on the Titantron. So the fans had to, I guess, evacuate until the fire was taken out, and I guess now it is safe to go in the arena. So I guess they showed that to explain maybe the lack of fans or something like that, because they were just getting back into the arena. So afterwards, CM Punk comes out to some cheers. Actually, he doesn't get booed. He comes out, cuts a promo. Basically, his explanation for, last week's events is that The Rock disrespected him when he came out during that Daniel Bryan CM Punk segment. He says he interrupted him. And when he was, bashing Daniel Bryan, he acted as if CM Punk wasn't there. And then, once again, during the main event, The Rock came out, so the spotlight would be on him, which CM Punk disagrees with because he thinks the spotlight should be on the champion, and The Rock just can't come, interrupt things whenever he wants. So basically, it's because of The Rock and how The Rock thinks he's entitled to things, and how he just, comes back once every blue moon, and the spotlight is all on him and not on the champion. He says, he kind of talks down on Jerry the King Lawler for, saying CM Punk turned on the WWE Universe. Punk says, The Rock, last time he checked, The Rock wasn't the WWE Universe. So, it's kind of a slow heel turn. He's kind of, justifying his actions. He kind of has a few points there. But, it's pretty obvious it's a heel turn. And then Big Show's music hit. He interrupts him. He says the only reason CM Punk's the champion right now is because of the Big Show, because CM Punk would have tapped out in the STF unless Big Show came out. Big Show says he's going to win the WWE Championship. CM Punk makes fun of that. And then John Cena also comes out. He goes right after the Big Show while CM Punk watches them fight. Big Show just rolls out the ring and gets out. AJ then comes out, and she makes the main event for tonight. She books Big Show versus John Cena, and the winner will be the new #1 contender for CM Punk's championship at SummerSlam. So there you have it. That's your main event for the show tonight. And then afterwards, you've got Daniel Bryan backstage. He's about to go into the GM's office, but at the end he decides not to. And then you have your first match, Del Rio versus Santino. I don't get it, man. What's with them feeding Santino to Del Rio every single time he comes back from losing a pay-per-view match or just becomes the #1 contender? The first person they feed freaking Del Rio is the US champion Santino, or sometimes the IC champion. I don't know why. But actually, this match was actually quicker than their past matches. Santino put up a fight, I guess. Del Rio wins the match with the cross arm breaker. Right after the match, he cuts a promo saying Santino's beneath him, Sheamus is beneath him, and because of that, he's not going to compete until SummerSlam, which I'm pretty happy about because I'm not a big fan of Del Rio. Afterwards, you have Daniel Bryan once again. He's about to go in AJ's office. They don't actually show him getting in or something like that, so who knows if he went into the office or not. And then you have Brodus Clay. He comes out. And then Vicky interrupts, starts dancing. She says Brodus Clay can't dance, and, she starts dancing. And then Damien Sandow comes out, and he attacks Brodus Clay, and he takes him out, and that's about it for that segment. And then they actually promote a tag team match between Jericho teaming up with Christian to face Dolph Ziggler and The Miz. I was looking forward to Christian and Jericho reuniting as a tag team. So I guess Jericho is now a face. And then Daniel Bryan, he goes into AJ's office and, just bashes her about, her not marrying him. And she says it looked like he had a couple guys last week to send her to a mental hospital, something like that. And she books him in the match against Sheamus. She says, I'm booking you in a match against your favorite opponent. It ends up being Sheamus, and they actually give the fans the choice of which match they want to see Daniel Bryan and Sheamus compete in. The choices were, one, I believe, was a no-holds-barred match. Second was a false count anywhere match. And then the third one was a street fight. well, like, what's the freaking difference between a street fight and a no holds barred match? It's exactly the same match. That's what I didn't get here. Street fight, no holds barred, same freaking match, except sometimes in the street fight, they wear street clothes, which is not much of a difference, really. Especially in this match. So, you know, they have the match. Sheamus versus Daniel Bryan. The fans picked a street fight. And Daniel Bryan and Sheamus came out in ring gear anyway, so there's absolutely no difference now between a street fight and a no-holds-barred match. So they have the match, and this was actually the match of the night. Very good match between the two. They used a couple weapons, steel steps, Singapore cane, steel chair. Both guys got a lot of offense in. You know, they fought inside the ring, outside the ring. The match ended obviously inside the ring though, because, you know, in a street fight and in a no-holds-barred match, you gotta get the pinfall in the ring. And comes where Daniel Bryan sets up the steel steps in the ring. And then Sheamus is about to hit the Celtic Cross on Daniel Bryan on the steel steps, but Daniel Bryan pushes him off, gets off the steel steps, and then right away Sheamus hits him with the bro kick, and Daniel Bryan lands on the steel steps. Sheamus goes for the pinfall and wins the match. So, definitely a great match. You know, Sheamus and Daniel Bryan definitely have shown that they can put on some awesome matches. And then after the match, you know, they go to a commercial. They come back from commercial. Daniel Bryan's in the ring. He refuses to exit the ring until they bring a doctor because, you know, his neck is hurting. And then you have Kofi Kingston and R-Truth coming out. And R-Truth, Kofi Kingston tell Daniel Bryan to get out the ring. Daniel Bryan bashes R-Truth, says he's got an imaginary friend, and Little Jimmy. He says, "Is that Little Jimmy?" And then R-Truth says yes. So Daniel Bryan kicks Little Jimmy outside the ring, and then R-Truth runs out of the ring, quickly runs out the ring, and goes to check in on his imaginary friend. Daniel Bryan makes fun of him, says, you know, R-Truth is mentally unstable or something like that. And you know, those guys that you saw last week that, you know, looked like they worked at a mental hospital, they come out to, I guess, take R-Truth or escorting him out of the arena because, you know, he's insane. But then AJ comes out and tells them, you know, R-Truth isn't the insane one, it's Daniel Bryan, and to escort him out of the building so he can seek mental help or something like that. So they take Daniel Bryan and leave with Daniel Bryan backstage, and that's it for that. And then they announced that Vince McMahon is going to be on SmackDown to announce a new general manager for SmackDown. So I'm looking forward to seeing who that's going to be. I'm hoping it's going to be Teddy Long. You guys know I am a big fan of Teddy Long. Despite all the tag team matches, I'm, you know, Teddy Long fan for life, player. So afterwards, you actually have the match between Kofi Kingston, R-Truth, and, well, actually, it's Kofi Kingston versus Titus O'Neil one-on-one, and R-Truth and Darren Young are, you know, outside the ring. So, you also have Abraham Washington outside the ring. You know, he's got his microphone, and he keeps talking during the match, and he made a couple inappropriate comments, I guess. He said Titus O'Neil is like Kobe Bryant in a Colorado hotel room. He's unstoppable. At the end of the match comes where Kofi Kingston's about to hit Trouble in Paradise, and then AEW comes on the apron, yells "Yo Mama" to Kofi Kingston, and throws his shoe at Kofi Kingston. Kofi Kingston gets distracted and chases, well, not really chases, but, you know, scares AEW off, so AEW just, you know, ditches the apron. Kofi Kingston gets distracted for that slight moment, which allows Titus O'Neil to hit his finisher, which looks like a sit-out spinebuster for the victory. So Titus O'Neil wins this match, and maybe AEW gets released because of his comments. I don't know. I hope not. But, like, I hope they don't get punished or they don't start losing all these matches. Or, you know, primetime players, Titus O'Neil and Darren Young, don't get punished for AEW's comments. And after that, you had a segment backstage between CM Punk and John Cena. You know, CM Punk says he knows he took advantage of, you know, Big Show interfering last week, but he would have done the same thing, and who really would attack the Big Show in a situation like that. He says he has no problems with John Cena, and he respects him, and that, you know, he's gonna be honest, and he doesn't wish John Cena or the Big Show luck for his match tonight, because he doesn't care who wins. and that's to not be mad because CM Punk did to The Rock in one night what John Cena could never do to The Rock. And that's it for that segment. After they come back from commercial, Michael Cole apologizes for AEW's, Kobe comments. And then after that, you have Heath Slater coming out. He says now that the whole Legends thing, is over, he's issuing a challenge to anybody from the current WWE roster, so no Legends, to come out and face him in a match. Which brings out Randy Orton. Randy Orton returns. He looks a lot skinnier. Looks like he's lost some muscle. I guess we know why he was suspended now. So yeah, he comes out. They have a pretty quick match. Slater gets a little bit of offense on Orton in the beginning, but Orton, hits his signature moves, followed by an RKO for the victory. Orton's got this new haircut. It's like a mohawk. I prefer, the previous haircut, but whatever. Who cares? Then afterwards, you have, Daniel Bryan in his segment backstage with, this guy that's supposed to verify if he's, mentally stable or whatever, or if he's sane. So he asks him a couple of questions with Daniel Bryan, answers with yes, yes, yes. Eventually, he gets tired of the questions and just, yells yes, yes, yes over and over without the guy asking him the questions. And then you have a match between, The Miz and Dolph Ziggler teaming up to face Christian and Jericho. Was kind of disappointed there was no backstage segment between Christian and Jericho, or no really acknowledgement between, the announcers, or they didn't point out that Christian and Jericho were, a tag team in the past or anything like that. But anyways, this was a good tag team match. And actually, I wanted to point out something. I think this was the first time I saw Dolph Ziggler bot something. He went for his Fame Acer and just completely missed that, so Christian didn't even sell the move because he completely missed. He didn't, hit Christian at all. Christian just it seemed like he was like, what the hell? Whatever. Christian and Jericho win after Jericho hits the code breaker on The Miz. After the match, Dolph Ziggler hits him with the Money in the Bank briefcase. And then you have some more segments with Daniel Bryan and, the same doctor, blah, blah, blah. You have a couple of these, but they were actually, some of the most entertaining parts of Raw. I was actually entertained by Daniel Bryan. This whole Raw, his segment with R-Truth, him kicking Little Jimmy, and these segments with the doctor. And the segments actually end with Kane. Well, actually, it ends with the doctor saying that, okay, after these tests, he sees that Daniel Bryan is sane, so that's it for the questions. And then, he leaves, and then Daniel Bryan says, okay, I knew I was sane. And then Kane comes out of nowhere and says he's there to for his anger management problems, and he attacks Daniel Bryan. That was kind of random, actually really random. I don't know where they're going with this, because at the same time, it seems like they're going with a Charlie Sheen, Daniel Bryan match at SummerSlam, but what's the point of Kane here? I don't know. Maybe they just wanted to incorporate Kane into the show, so they just added him here. Anyways, afterwards, you have a match between Tensai and Tyson Kidd. Tensai gets the jobber entrance, which is basically no entrance at all. He's already in the ring after the commercial. And then Tyson Kidd actually gets an entrance. They have a short match. Tyson Kidd actually gets some offense in, but Tensai wins the match after his senton. And after he wins the match, he keeps attacking Tyson Kidd, so the referee reverses the decision, so Tyson Kidd wins by disqualification. And because of that, Tensai gets even madder and he slaps Sakamoto, and then I think he attacked Tyson Kidd a bit more. And then you have the main event between John Cena and The Big Show. CM Punk comes out for commentary. He kind of argues with Jerry the King Lawler during the match. And so at the end of the match, you have The Big Show. Well, actually, John Cena goes after The Big Show when he's outside, and Big Show throws him at CM Punk. So he knocks down CM Punk. They get back in the ring, and Big Show goes for the knockout punch. CM Punk dodges that, goes for the AA, but then CM Punk gets in the ring and pushes John Cena while he has Big Show in the AA position, so they both fall down. Big Show starts to get up, so CM Punk kicks him in the head, and then he grabs the microphone and says the winner of this match, nobody, because they're both losers. He gets out of the ring and just gets out, and then AJ comes out, And she says CM Punk is wrong, they're both winners, so it's going to be a three-way match at SummerSlam between John Cena, Big Show, and CM Punk for the title. Then CM Punk comes back out and complains to AJ, telling her to show him some respect and he's a champion and she can't do that. Typical, heel behavior when you're the champion and you don't want, I guess, any competitors for your title. That's it for the show. I didn't mention this, but there was a lot of recaps and replays during the show, like they were trying to waste some time or buy some time, whatever. So many replays, I didn't like that. They showed like the Triple H and Paul Heyman segment from last week a bunch of times, as well as the fire that, occurred before the actual event aired. So yeah, so many replays, definitely more, than your typical 2-hour show. Anyways, as far as Raw tonight, it was an okay show. Really, the highlight of the show, I guess, was Daniel Bryan. Yeah, definitely Daniel Bryan and his match with Sheamus and his segments as well. Hope you guys enjoyed this video. Check out WrestlingGamer.com. And, yeah, that's about it. See ya.